Episode 3 is where I thought this season was starting to ramp up the heat. There were multiple things that happened. I could easily see one of a few names, including Traitors, being banished by the end of the episode. At breakfast, Andrew finally asks his dad, Paudy, the all-important question about his role in the game. Did Andrew actually expect Paudy to admit he was a traitor when he wouldn't be allowed to? After Andrew said he had suspected Caitlin as a traitor, it was an interesting tactic of Paudy to say that Caitlin had mentioned Andrew's name. The only time I recall Caitlin mentioning Andrew was in the turret to eliminate Andrew. This had the potential to be an interesting development and could have possibly burst my idea that Eamon would be the first to betray his fellow traitors. Regardless of his intention, what was clear was that Paudy would love to bring Andrew on board the traitor train, but would take the fall for Andrew to remain in the game. I've seen in another version where a player was willing to prioritise their relative's game over theirs. Let's see if that ever becomes a factor. As more people entered breakfast, the more I thought Faye was the intended victim, but I was wrong. I'm not getting these murders right so far. Instead they went for Niall. It seems like those doing well in the missions are being punished. Vanessa crying after the previous roundtable did come up as I thought it would. I knew there would be 1 or 2 people that would have a very narrow view of the possible reasons for her tears. Something tells me this won't be the last time Vanessa is seen as suspicious. Whatever Paudy was up to, Andrew informed Caitlin of what Paudy said. Now this was something of a surprise to me. I thought Andrew might keep that piece of information to himself regardless of what his intentions may be. Also telling Caitlin that he thinks Paudy is one of 4 traitors was another surprise. I know he has to sound suspicious of everyone, but I didn't think he would go to the extent of thinking his pa is a traitor and that Paudy's to and fro of Mark is 2 traitors sparring with each other. Now Eamon is aware of what Paudy said, things will be very interesting. I wasn't surprised Nina's name was out there. I thought the traitors could use her as a smokescreen, but the faithfuls were leading that charge all by themselves.
You know what I would really love if someone was like secretly related or secretly together.
How funny it was that Faye said that while Andrew was sitting next to her in the car. This was a vaguely familiar scene.
It could be a father and son, a father, daughter, sisters, brothers.
Paudy's my father. I'm just gonna fucking tell you, I can't control it anymore.
Well, this was an interesting mission. 200 golden bars buried with each bar worth €20, which meant there was a potential of finding €4,000 worth of bars at 15 minutes but no shovels. I did wonder if some of them would panic about the time again, but there wasn't any. They managed to find all 200 of the golden bars and they got a little surprise. Though not really a surprise to me. A new production would play the fake exit game in episode 1 and we unsurprisingly saw the return of Gemma and John as they were revealed as 2 of the creepy masked figures standing behind Siobhan. The other surprise was that only one of them was actually going to return and it was up to the players to pick, so production went with the partial return, which also has been seen before in a slightly different setting. It wasn't even close as John was picked over Gemma, with some picking him based on his physical attributes, though there was also the comment about John also being outgoing against Gemma's supposedly reserved character. Something tells me they would have banished her anyway if she'd entered the game properly, so Gemma was sent packing yet again, which is probably the last time we'll see her, as I've yet to see someone return twice. John was exempt from banishment and murder. He had a shield to give away and his role in the game was kept a mystery to everyone else. So many of them were really trying to get the shield from John, with Christine putting in the most effort. Before the round table, I thought Wilkin and Nina's name would come up. Surprisingly, Wilkin wasn't amongst those scrutinised or even voted for. I did wonder if Nick would go through with his plan to bring up Eamon's name at the round table. No surprise about the scrutiny on Nina, and before the spotlight was shone on Eamon, he went after Oyen for her lack of gameplay talk. What surprised me was that it was Kelly who brought up Eamon before Nick did. With Vanessa questioning Paudy's lack of general input and Caitlin bringing up Paudy's conversation with Andrew, this really had the potential to see both Eamon and Paudy receive votes, though I thought Paudy might end up getting more. I still wasn't sure who I thought would actually be banished. I thought Oyen's observation of Eamon looking like he was enjoying the back and forth between Nina and Patrick was brilliant. No one else seemed to observe what was going on or anyone else's reaction. All throughout the episode, I thought Paudy was trying to get Caitlin banished to protect Andrew, but it seemed like he forgot where he actually heard Caitlin mention Andrew's name. I say it like that because I don't know if he's actually telling the truth that it was a slip up. I guess Pordy wasn't counting on Andrew spilling the conversation. Maybe there was a reason why Andrew and Pordy didn't tell each other they were going on the show. John ended up giving the shield to Caitlin, which meant Christine's efforts were in vain. Caitlin told Christine and Joanna that she was given the shield, and she also told her fellow traitors. Maybe Caitlin should have kept it to herself and not told the traitors she had the shield. Pordy could end up saying she had the shield before she gets the chance to at breakfast. Vanessa was ruled out as a possible next victim, as she's suspected by others. I can see Vanessa potentially being banished within the next couple of episodes. Up for consideration for the next murder are Michelle, Faye and Christine. I won't go for a prediction this time, as I'm sure I'll be wrong. It's been an interesting first 3 episodes. There's a couple of people that seem to be more observant than others. It's just a question of if the majority will actually listen. I'm glad the missions in episode 2 and 3 have been different from some of the repeated missions like what was shown in episode 1. As a host, Siobhan is doing a good job. The show has had a good start, so let's see what lies ahead in the upcoming episodes.